Everybody, happy Saturday. On our way to a showing here out in Harriman, and got a little bit of windshield time. So I want to talk about something that I was recently asked a question on, which is goals. So I'll probably end up going down some rabbit holes. I apologize and getting sidetracked and forgetting my train of thought a couple of times, but that's just how I am and what I do. But my way of thinking is probably unique. Well, I know it's unique. And the way that I run things, the way that our model is on paper, and if I was to show this to, investors and venture capitalists and all this, and if I was to ever try to seek money to truly scale and grow, it's probably stupid. I've said this many times, right? Our business model probably doesn't make sense when you put it on paper, but it makes sense as far as results. And over the last couple years, the proof of concept has given me a lot of confidence because of our success. And I say our success, meaning our team, right? Hiring a lot of mainly all brand new agents with little to no real estate history, most of them fresh out of real estate school, and teaching them, our way of thinking and our way of doing things, meaning customer service, customer experience, focus on helping, and, the results and the money will come if you focus on and I've actually been watching a whole lot of Nick Saban stuff recently, and this actually I'll get into the goals with my time at University of Tennessee, but his whole focus is just on the process, right? You control what you can control, which is arguably the experience of our customer being in real estate, and the process of what you can offer them, and then the results should come. And that's something, arguably Nick Saban's, one of the greatest football coaches, let alone college, of all time. Sure, he had the best athletes, or majority of the time the best athletes, but they focused on the fundamentals. That was the key, right? He had people who could do extraordinary things that you can't teach or coach with their athletic ability, but the focus was always on the fundamentals, the attention to detail, and the small things. When you're at a elite level, it's the athletic ability is up there for everybody, but it's the small attention to detail that typically wins and loses games at professional levels. So I didn't really realize this until a couple years ago, and actually went into one of our team meetings and brought it up when it really came to my attention. But all throughout my professional career as just a worker, I guess, and working for other people, right? Everything was just data and goals, and we got to hit this metric, and timelines and deadlines of something's due this week and this month, and right, and even our referral partners that we even have today, they want us to hit these data and metrics and goals and all this stuff, and I get on there and play the game. I'm politically correct with my words to them, and it's not like we're not trying to be successful, but I'm not going to get up tomorrow and be more motivated because my numbers are down, or be less motivated because my numbers are up. It's maybe even a unique ability, but because I think of my sports background, that's taught me so much of accountability, discipline, teamwork. Sports has just taught me so much about business when you actually break it down, and you just look at the similarities that the two actually have. It's just given me the ability. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to kind of give it my all. And I know that kind of sounds douchey, but that's true. I go to work every day. I wake up and I solve problems. I don't have an outlook of what next year look and what 2026. This year in 2025, I think last year in 24, I think we closed 176, 178 deals. I can't remember what it was, somewhere in through there. There's no way last year you could have come here and told me, so Stephen, you're going to close over 300 deals in 2025. No way. I would have said, yeah, right. No, it's crazy. Our business almost doubling. Yeah, right. Get out of here. But we did. And we did it because every day we woke up, we put one foot in front of the other, and we got 1% better every single day. So getting into, for me, why I don't have goals and I don't put goals on my business, I don't put goals on are the agents on our team, although some of them are goal motivated, some of them do want to understand metrics and numbers and data, and I love talking about it, right? My background pre-real estate is marketing, which is all data, right? I know, if you invest a certain amount of money to get a certain amount of leads, what your conversion is and how it all plays out, right? That is how you scale a sales and service business. So I can talk the talk, walk the walk, and I know the metrics. And I'm more than happy to sit down and I do the agents, and hey, you need to probably take this many phone calls if you want to make this much money and do this. And odds are, if you do this, right, the law of large numbers, such as insurance goes, that's how our insurance quotes are, law of large numbers, you should be here. If you're better, you'll be more successful. Well, if you're worse, you'll be less successful. But I want to get back to where what stopped me from having goals, and that's talking about my time at the University of Tennessee playing football. So I was a walk-on there. Most people following my channel probably already know this. I was a walk-on there from 2006 to 2009. So I had 3 years of Coach Former, and then my senior year was Coach Kiffin. And this was, I can't remember when this actually was. It was either 2007 or 2008. So I was a receiver there initially as a walk-on. And then our junior year, our starting punter, who spent plenty of time in the NFL, got a DUI. And so he got suspended for the first half of the season. I, playing at a small school, played like every position, and I was our punter as well. And so they were like, Steven, we need a backup punter. Can you still punt? And I was like, sure, I can, right? Hadn't punted. I only punted my senior year in high school. And then I ended up basically being a backup punter for the first half of my junior year, which was kind of cool. I got to travel to UCLA and Auburn, and the closest I ever got to being in a game, I never got to play in a varsity level game, was we were at Auburn. And I told you I'm going to go down some rabbit holes, but we were at Auburn. Our starting punter at the time had not had the greatest of a year, and he had one or two shank punts the first half. We go into halftime, and I remember Coach Former coming up to me, and he said, Steven, make sure you're warmed up. He goes, if he basically has one more bad punt, you're in. And boy, that's like, I get chills thinking about that today. That's the closest ever been. Of course, his next punt, he goes out there and bombs like a 65-yard punt, and then I never play. So that's a little bit of the history. But anyway, so let's get back to the goal part of it. So as a receiver, I don't have a whole lot going for me, being not very tall. I had decent speed, but I was never any type of burner or anything like that, right? And as a walk-on, I would tell you, Coach Former, you didn't get opportunities. No chance. He probably didn't know the names of 25% of the walk-ons on the team. I don't know that he actually knew my name until I became the backup punter. And I'm not making that up. That's probably true. So anyways, at receiver, right, there was one thing, right, I was like, well, what can I do? And I was always really big into fitness, still am somewhat into fitness, not like I was, but still, I enjoy working out every day. But the bench press record at the University of Tennessee was held by Dante Stallworth at 390 pounds. I was always very strong on the bench press for some odd reason. And when I got there, and it was up on the wall, the record boards, Dante Stallworth, 390 pounds. And in college, I only weighed like 180, 185. I don't think I really ever got above 190 in college. So that's benching more than twice my body weight. Quite a bit more than twice my body weight when you look at percentages there. And I had made it kind of my goal. I was like, I can do that. I can bench 395. And sure enough, again, I think it was, I'm wanting to say it was like spring of 2008 there. So going into my junior year, I hadn't been punter yet. I was still receiver. And I'd worked my ass off for 2 or 3 years, just in the weight room in general, but also trying to get to that record. And we basically got to where we only like maxed out and did this one time a year, and we did it. And you know what? I was in the position to put 395 on there, and I bench pressed 395. I broke the University of Tennessee wide receiver bench press record. No one gave a shit. No one cared. The nameplate didn't change. And right, I get it, right? What makes more sense? Dante Stallworth, right? One of the greatest receivers. The University of Tennessee, spent time in the NFL. Do you want his name up there, or do you want Stephen Hensley, a person that's never played it down at the University of Tennessee? But but to me, it's like that. It taught me. It didn't teach me necessarily. Well, it taught me a little bit at the time, but looking back on it, it's taught me so much just about life and politics and how the game is played, and it's a who you know type world, and if you don't know the right people and you don't take matters into your own hands, right? I'm never going to give excuses. And because no one cared, nothing changed. And either the time, right, shortly after that, I got moved to punter. Well, the punting record was like 340 or 350, which I would crush that, right? And I was arguably a backup punter. I was really close to playing. So I would have crushed that record. I already could have had 2 records at the University of Tennessee, but it was never, ever, like, nothing was ever done. It was never even, like, a conversation. And I'd, like, brought up the weight stuff. I was like, hey, like, I broke this record. They're like, awesome, good job. And then they never talked to me again about it. That was the last time that I can vividly remember of having a goal and hitting my goal and realizing that no one gave a shit. So therefore, like, when you hit goals, like, what does it matter? Like, why not just wake up every day and give it your best? And you know what? You're going to have good days, bad days. It is what it is. And that's the way that I've kind of since then just approached life. Like, I've been in all these meetings and corporations, and we do all this stuff, especially with the marketing, and we want to get all this data and so many leads. And what do we do here? I never was more or less motivated because of a certain amount of data and say all these goals, right? I just went out and did what I did. If we hit the goal, great. If we didn't, I was fine with it because I knew that I gave everything that I had. That's just how I was wired and how I've done. I think like sports, right? Like I'm not gonna play the fourth down play any harder than I play the first down play. So I've had that attitude, but I thought that was just kind of a unique thing for me because I always felt weird when everybody else, or at least it appeared on exterior wise, that a lot of people were very goal motivated, and that's something you talk about business, and set goals and do this, and how do you grow, and you watch these YouTube videos and podcasts and all they do is talk about it. I was like, I always felt weird because it never motivated me, and I didn't feel confident telling others and explaining that to other people until I had success of my own doing it without those things. And now that we've had a tremendous amount of success, and when I say tremendous, like it's success for us. Like arguably, I mean, we're still a nobody in the grand schemes of real estate and everything. But, as far as East Tennessee, we'll finish basically with more closings than anybody, probably more transactions. There are some luxury agents that may beat us in volume. It'll be close. Because they do, their average closing is $2 million. And so all they got to do is 50 closings a year and, to our 300 to get to 100 million in closings. So, who knows? But for us, like, it's a tremendous amount of success. And it doesn't change, next year, in our conversations with our team, like there isn't, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, we got to hit at least 300 or more. We got to hit 400 or 500. Those are not conversations we have. Our conversations is how can we make the customer experience better? How can we get 1% better every day? Because there's things us as agents, especially around setting expectations for people, that's so important in real estate transactions. And sometimes setting expectations is very difficult. And why I say that is because setting expectations sometimes can make it look like we're being salesy. When somebody wants, like I had one of my agents call me yesterday, Steven, working with this buyer, they're wanting me to put in this offer, which was, in the grand scheme of things, even in a buyer's market, probably unreasonable to put in, meaning a super low offer. But it is what it is. And I was like, hey, listen, it is what it is, right? Set expectations. Hey, listen, don't think this will get accepted. Tell them what we anticipate them to counter back for, or not even counter back at all. And you know what, put it in and let's see what happens. And crazy things happen. I've seen wild things happen in real estate, so you never know. But in setting those expectations, right, that can give a customer, when we're telling them that, the vibe of, oh my gosh, well, this person's not trying to fight for me. They're not trying to get this deal done for me. No, this isn't HGTV negotiations where you go out and homes listed for $400,000 and you offer them $250 because you're a cash buyer and all this stuff and they take it. That does not happen. Doesn't exist. TV shows are just, they've ruined real estate for really what it is, especially like open houses. Open houses don't sell houses at all. If open houses sold houses, every real estate agent would be in an open house every single weekend. There's a reason why your top tier, top 100, heck, even probably your top 1,000 agents for the most part are not doing open houses, usually unless the seller's, wanting them to, for whatever reason, like our clients wants to. They're not going to because they know nothing comes of it as far as selling that house. Open houses are done to generate leads for buyers that are unrepresented, and you try to convert them into working with you as a buyer's agent for another house. Obviously trying to sell that house, but again, I was just somebody walking the house and buying, it's like less than a freaking 1% chance. So you got to play the long game. But anyways, I told you, let's go down some rabbit holes. But that's why I basically don't have goals for my businesses. It's focused on the process, focus on the experience, focus on what we can control, and the results will come of that, and more positive results will come when you focus on those things versus trying to focus on the results and how you get there. I think that's the wrong way of doing things. For me, it's focused on the process, the systems, the experience, which is what you can control, and then the results, the positive results, will come from that activity. That's just my opinion. But I want to share that with you guys because maybe there's somebody out there that was, like me and is like, well, hey, goals don't really motivate me, and I feel kind of weird. I don't want to talk about it. You can be successful. Go out and do it. Be confident in yourself. But as always, guys, if you ever have questions, real estate in any form, I'm always here to answer any questions business-wise, right? I'm no like business advisor or nothing like that. Far from it. But I just like sharing my experiences out there because somebody else might be able to relate to that. See you.